going on the dot with Michael Dotterer, and want you to go ahead and subscribe to his program. So I'm doing this to promote his program as well as share with you what we're talking about. And so I'm going into the studio right now.
Fired, and people were killed at Kent State, and I visited Kent State. And so, any event, we've got a great show for you. And Zenny's coming on right now, and he's an expert at this. I'm fairly new. I only have, 150 subscribers. Zenny has 48,500 subscribers. So here he is, my good friend Zenny Abraham. Zenny, welcome, brother. You're on the dot.
Go Bears! Beat Stanford! How are you? I start off my talks with A's president Dave Cavall that way too. But I've known you a lot longer.
Zenny, I'm excited to have you on the dot, Zenny. We've been talking about this for the past year.
Yep.
And what prompted me was I was reading the news, the online news, and your name came up, and it said you were the first person that broke the story about your friend Taj, and that he is a senior vice president or whatever his title is with the Oakland Athletics. He was relieved of his duty, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I got to call Zenny." And then obviously that led to Zenny. Can you come on the dot? Tell us, Zenny, what's going on with the Oakland Athletics?
I'm telling all my viewers, folks, this is my buddy Michael Dotterer. Okay, I want you to go and subscribe to his show on the dot. Okay, you gotta go and check him out. That's us. Okay, and give him your time and your clicks and everything else. We gotta get a subscriber count up to 1,000,000. Michael, hey, thanks for having me on, my friend. We go way back, long time, way back. But Taj Tashombe was unfortunately. I hope he becomes again. He was vice president, not even senior executive of external affairs for the Athletics. But candidly, he was the black face for the Athletics. He was the person that served as the A's connector to the African American community, particularly those who were poor, who didn't understand why the A's would be building a new stadium, not in East Oakland, not at the Coliseum, why they would give to some the look that they were leaving a predominantly black and people of color region of Oakland for a part of the seaport, and in the process threaten to some the continued development and operation of the seaport there. I don't agree with that, but I'm laying out to you what the concern is and the argument. And Taj was the A's best weapon against that. Okay, he'd been with the Athletics since 2016, so there are a number of people still shocked and angry that this happened, and it was, in my opinion, but really not even in my opinion, it was factually just a major error by the Athletics to fire him. And the way I found out about it was out of the blue. I got an out of the blue reach from a friend, and I immediately got on it because they wanted me to get on it. And this was, look, as I've said before and I'll say again, this story really shines a light on how, unfortunately, racially divided the media is. You have an inordinate focus on white-owned media, and it's not like the time of blogging when I, for example, was on SF Gate and I had, as a City Brights blogger, but I also had Zenny62. If that were the case today, I would have put my video blog on the Chronicle website, and they would have gained the benefit of my connections, and I would have gained the benefit of being on their website. But things are different today. I, for reasons actually related to how they treated me then, started my own Zenny62 Media brand, which is now a C Corp I own 67% of, and I would love to have Michael in as a partner. And we have 100 websites, and the Chronicle's readership has declined to a point where when their two reporters wrote about this and were good enough to report that I broke the story, the link to the video that I made, the original vlog, had very little impact on it. Oh, of course it was positive, but frankly speaking, it's not like years past when I could talk about, say, the America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent, and Susan, I forgot the young lady's last name, that just hit it out of the park with her incredible voice. I put a video blog of my comment on her, which is 3 minutes long, and it was seen 2 million times in 1 month because of its position on the Chronicle and the way that I wrote it. But the Chronicle was more popular then, mainstream media was more popular then. Now these events happen and they're known to a local group, but not as many people. It's unfortunate, but also it points to the kind of opportunity there is for sites like mine or Michael Dotterer's, or for us to team up and do our own thing. But coming back to the central story regarding Taj, he was said to have gone to 2 events. One, the All-Star game, where he actually had a racial diversity event while he was at the All-Star game that he produced. And then in Washington, D.C., another program that was based on F.C. Baynard's executives and their call for the end of racism, and an event that was attended by a star-studded group of black sports executives and was very widely regarded. The problem, it appears from what my sources told me, and the Athletics didn't contact me, they contacted the Chronicle, okay, or SF Gate, but they didn't do me the respect of saying, hey, Zenny, can we tell you the story? I mean, we realize it's a national story, we can't comment on the specifics, but let us tell you what it wasn't. I reached out to them, okay? So I'm not buying what they told SF Gate, and the reason I'm not is because they didn't do the respect show the respect to me of contacting me to give their side of the story, even though I reached out to them. And I've had Dave on, President Cabal of the A's, many times. Okay, he went Stanford on me in a sense, in a different way. Dave is also a Stanford grad as well, Michael. So there you go. Hey, Michael, I don't know if I can hear you on your end.
Oh, sorry about that.
There you go.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, we were talking about David. I remember talking with David. It might have been like 20 years ago. He put together a professional. He was part of the Golden State Professional Baseball League. Was it called the Golden State League?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know more than I do there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I only heard of him regarding the earthquakes. He was the rising star when he built their facility down in San Jose, and that's when I first became aware of him. I didn't meet him until, well, when he had the press conference. I was there at the Coliseum. My buddy Chris Dobbins, who was involved with Save Oakland Sports, was there. I interviewed Chris about him, and then I got to know Dave really well because he was doing this really intelligent move of having a kind of an outreach where you'd come to his office and talk, or you could have a call with him. I did the call route, and that's where I told him that he needed to use tax increment financing to build affordable housing. Otherwise, he wasn't going to get a Howard terminal approved. And so he took the information that I gave him and went and did just that. He's partnered with Nancy Skinner to create kind of a designer version of for the use of tax increment financing in Jack London Square and Howard Terminal, which I thought was really brilliant. That was really brilliant. But then, of course, the city screwed things up by not following up as they should by saying, hey, County of Alameda, we're going to need your tax increment revenue that was produced from that 55 acres that we're going to allow the Athletics to build. And so they quite literally wasted, the city did, 2 years doing nothing. Well, they would argue that they were doing community meetings, and they were, but you don't do community meetings and then not take the plans formed with the community and fold them into a legally called for infrastructure financing plan and build a public financing authority, both called for by law, and then put some of the members of the community on it. So it was wasted time. I mean, they wasted about a year and a half of the community's time by doing nothing to install what they came up with as part of the plan. They didn't monetize any of it. Nobody knows what the projects that are listed in this very grand plan are to cost. And it's not that they're not, estimable. They are. But the city didn't do it. They were too busy just meeting. They weren't really thinking about or understanding. They didn't follow the law, and they didn't understand how to put it together to take the next step. And so they hired a consultant. They have hired consultants that don't know blank from blank. Whereas I've done tax increment financing for 36 years and worked on the Coliseum redevelopment area as its data guy. That was way back. My first job out of grad school was with the city of Oakland as an intern. I learned how to do that while I was an intern. Then I became a redevelopment consultant. And I was a consultant not just for the city of Oakland, but also for the San Francisco Redevelopment Agency and also for the Emeryville Redevelopment Agency, where my longtime Cal buddy Kofi Barner was the director at the time. So, and then I basically made a pivot into starting Oakland's first blog and making taking a number of actions that led to what today is NE62 Media. But the bottom line is Oakland did not and has not handled this project properly at all.
Yeah, well, it is sad, Zenny. It's very sad. I remember, gosh, it was 15 years ago, or maybe 10 years ago, when the Raiders were talking about leaving, and even before the Warriors left, there was a woman that I had met who worked with Mayor Schaaf and worked directly with her. And my strength is I love connecting people. I mean, I just love putting people together. And, I've got many faults. I tend to talk too much and get so excited, but I love connecting. And it's what Malcolm Gladwell, there's a chapter in the book, The Tipping Point, and there's a whole chapter on connectors. And I believe that I could connect Libby, the mayor, who I just found out that your godparents are Mayor Schaaf's parents.
Yeah, that's right. Mayor Schaaf's godparents have been my Mayor Schaaf's parents and my godparents since 1991.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like this is serendipitous that we're talking about this, because I remember saying to this woman, and her name escapes me, but I said, please put me in touch with the mayor, because I used to do this at the United Nations. I used to connect ambassadors from countries all over the world with people like Arm & Hammer, Ross Perot, David Rockefeller, Bill Gates. I did that 30 years ago. And I said to myself, there's quite a few people down in the Silicon Valley connected to Stanford that might want to keep the Oakland Raiders in Oakland, in the Bay Area. They might want to keep the Warriors in Oakland. They might want to keep the A's. And so I said, hey, can I talk with the mayor? Can you connect me? And she said, oh yeah, I'll connect you. Never heard one thing. So again, I understand she's a busy lady, but
I'll tell you what, Mark.
I just thought to myself, wow.
Mark,
and then the team, we got, as I said, the Seals are gone, the Warriors are gone, the Raiders are gone, and the question is, Zenny, with the moves that they've made, what are the chances of the Oakland Athletics remaining in Oakland?
Well, I think if you tie it to Taj and Taj's departure, the answer is 30%. It's not, I don't call it Taj's departure. Taj got fired. Taj, look, you don't do the kind of events that Taj did right up until he was fired and say, oh, I'm just going to leave, and then not tell people where you're going. He was fired. That's what my sources told me. They know this better than anybody else because of their position. And I stand by that. I don't care what this A's spokesperson says, okay, that they said to the Chronicle and not to me. And Dave's been on my show a bunch of times. He could have easily called me. There was no reason not to. But they had Phil Ruffin, Trump's friend, in town last week. And there's a part of me that thinks there's a tie-in between Ruffin's visiting and Taj getting fired. Okay.
By the way, our audience probably doesn't know who Ruffin is. So if you could talk about who is Ruffin, Mr. Ruffin.
Absolutely. Phil Ruffin is a billionaire, 82-year-old casino magnate who is best known for owning the Treasure Island. He has owned a number of casinos, and he also is good friends with Donald Trump, has supported his presidential campaign to the tune of several million. They are partnered, I believe, in the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. They're also, I believe, partnered with some other business ventures in Las Vegas. So by extension, if you're going to say, do you mean there's a possibility that Donald Trump may wind up being partnered with John Fisher? I would not discount that possibility. I wouldn't. And, look, Taj is a Democrat. He is also the blackface. To me, maybe it's coincidental, but in the way that I think, my spider sense starts tingling as it is with this effort. I tend to think that also that was part of it. Because even if it was a simple matter like, well, gee, we're going to go to Las Vegas anyway, so we don't need Taj. If it's something like that, it's still partly tied to the fact that Phil Ruffin has sought to partner with them and bring the Athletics to Las Vegas. But I thought that Taj would be, and I think that Taj would be just as effective in Las Vegas as in his role with the A's as Oakland. So it was a gigantic mistake, but it communicated to the world by its action that they didn't value Taj. Because let's look. I remember, this is a matter of public record, and I've had a great life. I'm 60 now. I've got to get a 7th dose of the mRNA because I'm telling you, man, it boosts your immune system, and it's the greatest thing for your health. Okay, that's another story. Well, my point is, there's a simple fact here that if you put a person like Taj in a position where you want him to be the face of the black community in the internet age, that doesn't communicate in just Oakland. That's worldwide, okay? That's in Las Vegas, okay? And Las Vegas has community needs as well. Las Vegas has gigantic needs for affordable housing. It's getting worse, all right? The country's affordable housing need is just dramatically bad because we've had a gargantuan level of foreign direct investment, such that I was saying to someone the other day, we should just cut off the spigot of foreign direct investment and make them be in America and just kind of tamp down this buying activity and all this, causing all this speculation, which is driving up all these prices. This isn't the free market as we've thought about it. This is the internet-driven market, all right? And affordable housing and the need for it has quite literally driven away the ease of availability of funds for a number of projects, including sports projects, and that'll impact the A's in Las Vegas with, for example, the availability of private placement bonds. Private placement activity has been quite literally consumed by the affordable housing industry. Just straight out. That's why there's no bright line light rail between LA and Las Vegas. They thought they had their private placement bond issues all sewn up. Nope, not at all. Changed like that, okay? So the A's can't come to Las Vegas and think they don't need a Taj. They do. They need a Taj. Now, can they do what they want to do faster in Las Vegas with or without Taj? Yes. All right? Yes, absolutely. But
Hey, Zenny.
lawsuits.
Zenny, look what the Raiders did. Who the new president of the Raiders?
Yeah, Sandra. Yeah, absolutely.
The first woman African American president in the history of the National Football League.
Yeah, and look, I like Mark Davis. Mark has had his difference with me because, hey, look, I'm independent, and not only did not agree with the move he was trying to do, but I felt that there were some economic deficiencies to what he was trying to do. But I will tell you, I made a tremendous mistake intellectually in that. But I love Oakland, okay? And I sort of inherited the problem because I've covered the NFL and I built my brand around the NFL, Michael, since 2005. That was my first draft. I'm the first person to write make an internet-based account of being at the draft. I'm the first to cover the NFL draft with a YouTube channel. I'm the first to cover it with a live stream. I partnered with Ustream the very next year. In 2008, ESPN got mad and basically had the NFL banish me to the Grand Lounge at Radio City Music Hall, and I was about to cry. Hey, Michael, I was about to cry.
How about the time where I was walking down the
I'm
street?
getting to that. Yeah, you should show that. Yeah, I'm getting to that. And so I was about to cry about being in the Grand Lounge basement, and I realized something. All the players will be coming to me first because the way they had it, they announced them on the stage, right? And then what happens is they go through get their hat and they meet the people they're gonna meet, and they either sign the paperwork first or after the interviews. Now it's before the interviews, but then it was either one or the other. And so here I am. I went down there, I took a table, set it up, and I set up my whole computer system where I was pointing right at the table. I got everybody. So I got the first videos before anyone else did, and people weren't using YouTube then, right? So I had all this material that I still have, and so basically I have set the record for the most YouTube videos made on site at the NFL draft, more than any other single person or media outlet in history, okay? There you go. So yeah, that's how I got started. And but getting back to the situation at hand here with Taj and the Athletics, as one of my viewers just remarked that the A's didn't do any community outreach. Well, the A's did community outreach. Taj was their community outreach, okay? Taj was it, all right? And so the question is, was the city of Oakland too little and too late in negotiations? Yeah, but there are two types of negotiations, okay? The community negotiations Taj was handling, okay? That was on time. But the negotiations with the county regarding tax increment financing, regarding the plans, regarding the processes and steps called for by law, that was late. I told Mayor Schaaf a couple of months ago, all right? I said, look, Ms. Mayor, if you put me in charge right now, I will immediately go to council and have the council approve the establishment of the Public Financing Authority. We will have extra seats for the county and the community groups, and then we will start immediately on a infrastructure financing plan with the objective of having it finished by the end of October. And our objective will be to have our bond issue design and the numbers for it wrapped up by the end of October as well, with the and the overall objective is to have everything wrapped up in a bow for the council by the end of October. And why we would have it public, because right now, Michael, it's not public. There's no sunshine. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. But ain't no sunshine because she never arrived. In other words, you know what I mean? There was never a public meeting. Think about how different it is with Las Vegas as one example, where they created the Las Vegas Stadium Authority, all right? Or think about how we handled the Warriors arena. We had the Joint Powers Authority. These were deliberative public bodies. I should say are deliberative public bodies where you, as Josephina Q. Public, can come to the meetings, get on open forum, or have the meetings on Zoom now, and get on open forum and state your case, talk about your businesses. Because with the neat way that Las Vegas handled it, okay? All right. And one of my viewers saying that the final community framework document was never finalized. Thank you for that. It wasn't. But again, that gets to the fact that the city did not have its own process. When you have a deliberative body, you have the public looking at you. You have people basically coming to your meetings saying, toot sweet, right? I was going to double time it. Instead of meeting once a month, we're going to meet twice the month, okay? We can still do this. But this is the kind of thing that we need to do because Oakland too often acts like it's on its own schedule and not somebody else's. We're on somebody else's schedule now. That's Major League Baseball's. That's life. That's the way life is.
Hey, Zenny.
Yes, sir.
Is it too late? Because you said we could do it now, but is it too late, Zenny, or is it never too late?
It's not too late if we do it the way that I'm talking about. But we have to show a sense of urgency. We have shown no sense of urgency. The mayor has used this project, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. She's in, make sure you folks on the dot, okay? All right? The mayor used this project, just like she used the Raiders, to show her face. It was always Libby's face, Libby's face, Libby's face. Libby tried to make herself the spokesperson, and a lot of times it didn't go well. Why? Because for the same reason she screwed up with the Raiders, my friend. And I love her to death. But this is about more than my friendship with her. This is about her responsibility to the 500,000 people who live in Oakland and the millions of people who are connected with Oakland in many different ways. So it's bigger than that. It's much bigger than that. And Libby, I know, understands that, but she also understands that she's got to take the criticism that comes with how terrible a job she did and the fact that she didn't call on her friends who are the best and the brightest at what they do, what we do. I think I'm the smartest guy in the room, and it's up to somebody else to prove I'm not in the room. If you don't get me in the room, you don't give me a chance to prove it, it's too bad. But if I'm in the room, I'll eat your ass alive. I'm saying it just like that. I will eat your ass alive. Because this thing needs to get done. We need people who are jackbull certain about it. We need people who are not afraid to take chances, to make moves. We need people who are a little less political and a lot more aggressive. Okay? And that's what we're missing in the society. You know, we're missing that can-do attitude. And I think, frankly speaking, even though I don't like Trump, he has that. Okay? He does have that. Okay.
Well, how about KJ? What about KJ, your fellow, graduate from the University of California, became the mayor of Sacramento, and I think had a huge role in keeping the Kings in Sacramento.
Yeah, no, Kevin Johnson's outstanding too. But look, we have enough people, all right? We have enough people, okay? Bleacher Dave is chiming in. Hey, Bleacher Dave, you owe me a visit, man. You got to get on Dot's show, all right? Don't be one of those people that hides behind things. Call, man. No, I'm letting you do that, man. But anyway, all right? My point is that, yes, sir. Your volume, Michael. Yeah.
Zenny, by the way, to get on the Dot, I just put the ticker tape down.
Oh.
YouTube, you've got to search, and unfortunately, probably a mistake, you got to go to my name, Michael Dotterer, on YouTube, and you'll see the On the Dot. So yeah. Maybe, Zenny, you could teach me. But you know
sure.
What? Before you got on, Zenny, I said, I remember CBS's 60 Minutes where they'd have the two people talking about, issues,
mm-hmm.
and they kind of would go at each other.
Yeah.
And I challenged, actually, you weren't on because I came on a little bit before we brought you on, But I would like, Zenny, for you and I to have civil discourse, because there's issues that you and I disagree on.
Crossfire.
But
Crossfire.
we can
Crossfire.
agree
Remember
to
Crossfire.
disagree. And there's a saying, be the change that you want to see in the world. We need to, in this country, have civil discourse. And just because we disagree doesn't mean
I agree.
that
I agree. But I think
like you.
right. But I think for the purpose of Howard Terminal, which is our subject right now, and the program's called Crossfire, which I loved. Okay, and but we don't need Crossfire for Howard Terminal. I'll tell you why we don't. Okay, and Bleacher Dave, I did not see that, but let's talk about that. Okay, I'll tell you about the CBA update. But anyway, Oakland United. But anyway, that's another subject. Michael, we don't need Crossfire for Howard Terminal. We need a hurry up. Understand? We need, I drew it out. I drew out a plan. I made a video blog outlining my plan in text as well of how to move this project forward right now. All right? Because I'm telling you, the A's project was supposed to have broken ground last year. You hear me? But what happened was, I already laid out what happened in terms of the time wasted. Molly Mabern came on as project manager, I believe, March of 2019, but she didn't really technically come on. She was hired then, but she didn't really surface until later. And I called the number for her, and she never called me back then. That's actually 2020 when I called. She didn't call me back then. And that was before I was critical. So there's no sunshine in the project. As my friend says, it's slipping away, sands through an hourglass. Bleacher Dave, that's the best description I've seen. That's right. It's like sands through an hourglass. So go the days of our lives. A great soap opera that is no longer with us, unfortunately. I watched General Hospital, but I digress. My point is that we need the mayor and the council to turn everything out, put this on a fast track schedule, do as I've said, done. I said the mayor, she said, we're going to do the public financing authority and everything else. But I said, Ms. Mayor, do it now. Don't, because the way the mayor has it set up, we're going to do the state lands approval. We're going to do planning commission again. And then we're going to go with the council. But right now, looking at, this is August, looking at September, October, November, December. We don't have a lot of time. So we're going to run out of time. By the time she gets to the public financing authority, and by the time she gets to the infrastructure financing plan or has her staff get to it, guess what? It's going to be 2023. That's going to take another 8 months the way that they're going about it. And the A's and Major League Baseball is not going to wait, because what's going on is the more time they waste, the more time they give the Athletics and Major League Baseball to do their design creation in Las Vegas. All right. And Bleacher Dave says we lost a year due to COVID waiting on the state. We didn't lose it. What happened was we lost a year because of our mismanagement. We didn't have to wait on the state, Bleacher Dave. All we had to do was focus on getting the tax increment financing part going, establishing the public financing authority, so you have this deliberative body which keeps a focus on the project, because you have everybody there, right? Coming there, making their micro blogs about it and everything else, as well as traditional news, because it meets weekly. But what we have right now is a situation where the only time you hear about something is when another deliberative body has these milestone meetings that if it goes a certain way, oh my God, it may live or die. That's no way to run a project. That's stupid. Okay? And you had Dave allowing it to happen and acting like he had his consultants, but arguably his consultants weren't giving him any value either. All right, let's be honest, folks. Michael, let's be honest about this, all right? It wasn't just the city. The A's were paying the city, but the A's were not getting what they paid for because they expected to get experts in the city. They didn't get them. Then they tried to hire their own experts. Could have hired me, didn't do that. Here I am sitting here giving him the idea that he said he got from me. He gets the idea from me, yet they don't hire me to do it. I mean, is that smart? Of course it's not smart. You know?
Well, yeah, Zenny, let me just interject here. It is pretty amazing with your wealth of knowledge, with your connections to the East Bay. You're a graduate of the University of California, which is right there. With your network, it is amazing that you're not in the inner circle with Mayor Schaaf. And by the way, I tick down there. If you want to, there's an upcoming mayoral debate for 3 candidates that are going to be opposing, going up for election, going up against
all
Mayor
city
Schaaf.
council members. But they ask yourself a question, okay? I like them as people. I've known Treva Reed for a long time. But she is nearing the midterm of her first time as city council. And she spends the first part of her first term doing what? Campaigning to be mayor. So the question is, hey, wait a minute. What are you doing as council? I got more done for the city of Oakland, okay, as an aide to Elihu Harris than a number of people have done who are council members, not right now. All right, I'm not running for mayor. I'm here for my mom. I got my priorities right. Okay? My mom is number 1. My company is number 2. I'm number 3, and I got to get some money into my company. All right? That's Michael.
I truly believe, Zenny.
Michael, you know the billionaires. You got to partner with me, man.
Watch what I do. See, it's nice because I can mute you. Here's what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting, Zenny, is that you and I, the energy is unbelievable. And I think that each of us can, in the future, we'll call it the Z and D show.
Well, I think it's a great idea.
First, so you get to start it off. I go back and forth, and you get to wrap the last word.
He doesn't realize that you can hear me.
What I'm excited about, we can pick different topics.
Right.
And I'd like to segue, because we've been
on but
Michael.
Minutes,
and I know that people's attention span is about 45 minutes.
Michael, I know
and my good friend Brian Holloway, who went to Stanford, said, Mike, if you want something to go viral, don't make it more than 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So, I would love for this to go viral. And Zenny,
let me turn this on.
You're going to be able to talk about what you're going to talk about. And I'm going to stop and put myself on mute. But what I want to do, Zenny, is I do want to get your take. I'm going to tell him
that he needs to be my partner.
On People's Park.
Oh, People's Park. Yeah.
Please talk about that.
I will.
And Zenny, you're back on, brother.
I need a chief marketing officer, Michael. I need you to be the chief marketing officer of Zenny 62 Media. It'd be outstanding. You got the connections. You know the Stanford billionaires. Okay? Between us, I've got the company. I've got the setup. I've got the stock. State of Delaware. Apparatus. Everything. I need you to be Zenny 62 Media's chief marketing officer. Bleacher Dave said A's could have agreed to city term sheet a year ago in July. But hey, Bleacher Dave, that's not the point. The point is, he's talking about that was a sucky term sheet. I'm not going to agree to a term sheet where the city itself can't even figure out its own tax increment financing, okay? They couldn't. The problem was that the minute they started and they waited 2 years, you give Bleacher Dave, I know you think the project manager's hot and all that stuff, okay? I'm being honest, okay? You give them too much of a break. I give them no break. This is about money, man. This is about money, man. Yeah, Bleacher Dave be our CFO. But this is about money, okay? And too many people say, oh, they're so nice and everything. They're not getting the job done. They're not getting the job done, okay? They're not getting the job done. All right, this isn't time to have a club. Jerry Brown said, well, I'm going to break up the black political machine because they're friends hiring friends. What has Libby been doing? Or allowing, everybody like Betsy Lake hires her friend and all this stuff, getting nothing done, all right? Libby makes the face. That's why we lost the Raiders. It worked for her, Michael, to have a great first presentation in New York. I was there. This is November 2015. She came with Larry Reed and this representative from Blackstone and Eric Grubman, the man who famously said that Oakland did not have a viable plan to retain the Raiders. Remember that? Viable? It just, that went viral, man. Viable. Remember that? Okay? Eric said, and I have the video. Eric said, I have the video. Bleacher said they haven't gotten the job done, only poison the well by antagonizing this community. Bleacher Dave, you're absolutely right. I need to come on the show. But my whole point is, the fact of, and I need to invite you. The fact of the, and I did it again. The fact of the matter is that Libby got so enamored with all the accolades she was getting, which were well deserved the first time, that she went to Boca Raton when it was more serious to get a deal done with the Raiders. In other words, do you know the details? Do you know the financing? Do you understand the elasticity of demand with this price? What do you know? How's your bond issue laid out? What are you going to do? All right. That she didn't have those questions answered. And guess what happened? Crash and burn in Boca. Crash and burn in Boca. Because she wanted her face out there. So what is she doing with Howard Terminal? The same damn thing. Putting her face out there, making all these mistakes, not knowing what she's talking about, okay? And I love her. But it hurts to see my friend screw up. All right? Because that's exactly what's happening. It's screwing up on a large scale level with the city. And that's what's going on. All right?
Zenny.
Yes, sir.
I got a question for you. Since there's no question, you're so articulate in painting, and I must say it's your perspective, because I'm sure there's other perspectives, but it sounds very clear as to what, what mistakes. I mean, you've put this out very clearly, and you've been involved since the beginning. So let me ask you, I know you said it's not too late, but let's just say that the Oakland A's do leave. Where does Oakland go? And I'm not saying that, a city doesn't have to have a professional sports team.
Au contraire.
But I will say that all the great cities in America, do have, name us a great city that does not have a professional sports team.
You can't. There is no, every city that's great has a professional sports team of some kind. Let me explain something to you, okay, that people don't seem to understand or want to accept. I don't care how you feel about sports. Oakland District Councilmember Carol Fife makes this mistake all the time. She talks about how she feels about baseball. No one cares about how she feels about baseball. This is about having a facility that is, in effect, a gigantic convention hall to help us build up, us being Oakland, build up our extreme weakness in the industry of meetings, incentives, conventions, and in entertainment, all right? The MICE industry. We are weak in it. We have at the time that I proposed the idea of having a 1,100 hotel room facility at the Coliseum next to the stadium for the new Raiders stadium, people laughed at my drawing, okay? And I love that you laughed. You gave attention to it because the idea worked. And none other than an organization I cold called. Get this, Michael. I cold called Diane Poway, the managing director at the time of Piper Jaffray. She had a 5-person deal team go over my spreadsheet for the Raiders stadium. They said everything checked out. They just wanted to know if the city would back the bonds. I said, I'm not going to put that there. I calculated out enough to give the Raiders alone a $2 billion bondable cash stream on their own. $2 billion, okay? And from it, because I learned something from, the NFL. That's how they are structuring their deals, all right? Jerry Jones will tell you that. Eric Grubman told me that. And this is how I found out when I was talking with Eric. I said, Eric, we had this conversation in Houston at the Houston NFL owners meeting, this fall NFL owners meeting in 2016. I said, Eric, riddle me this. Why is it that Mark is willing to give up ownership and let the Las Vegas Stadium Authority in Clark County own the stadium in Vegas, right? But he wants a privately financed stadium. He wants to own it in the Oakland case. And he said, well, wait a minute. What difference does it make? He said, what difference does it make if I own the revenue stream anyway? In other words, who cares who owns the edifice? Isn't my owning the revenue stream the same thing? And I admit he was right. And that completely changed how I thought about the value of the calculations and the revenue streams that I was creating, right? For in the case of the Raiders project. And I gave all of that to Libby. I gave it to Scott McKibben when he was the head of the JPA, and Oakland Council member Rebecca Kaplan. Rebecca and Scott and I had a meeting. We went over every part of the spreadsheet. Rebecca said I dotted every I, crossed every T. She asked me all kinds of questions, passed with flying colors, all right? I'm telling you, you put me under hot lights, I shine, all right? I do not fade. And so there was no reason. Oh, you know what did Libby do? Nothing. I gave her the information. I even specifically pushed for Diane Pollard because she is, let's be blunt, brilliant female managing director, great political cover, all right, to get a deal like that done. And Diane is an acknowledged expert at what she does, and I got her with a 45-minute phone call, and it is not a yawn. Heck with you, all right? Boom, I did that, okay? You tell me, you compare me with any of these other people who are council members that have these titles. Seriously, I've got more than they've done, all right? And, you know, I'm just a country bumpkin. So give me a break. My point is this, if we want to have this thing done, Mike, unmute your mic. Unmute your mic. Mike, can't hear you. You have to turn on your mic, Michael. Mike's talking, but he hasn't turned his mic on. Look, I'm trying to tell him to turn his mic on. See, he's gesturing, okay? Oh, my buddy. You should have heard him. I took him to dinner at 21 Club in 2006. We had in New York, NFL. We had a fantastic chop. The trouble is he's got his mic muted, and he doesn't know. I know Bleacher Dave. I want to talk Howard Terminal. Mike, he's got his mic muted, so you can't hear him. He's trying to make a point, and I'm saying, Michael, your button, the button, Michael, the button. He's it, Michael, the button. Oh, poor fella. Michael, the button.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was trying to tell you.
I was muted.
I know.
Oh my God.
And see, look,
you know what, Zenny?
I know you're on a roll.
I apologize. I was muted. Hopefully, people could read my lips. What I was saying, Zenny, we have between your LinkedIn network and my LinkedIn network, and thanks to Reid Hoffman, a Stanford graduate, for starting LinkedIn.
Yep.
We have billionaires that could be listening to this live or could listen to the recording. And those billionaires could come to Oakland, one billionaire, and meet with Mayor Schaaf and say, Mayor Schaaf, we got to keep your team in Oakland.
Absolutely. And not only that,
could a billionaire make a difference, or do you need two billionaires? What does it take, Zenny? Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry, I was muted.
The other thing is, I need just chief operating officer because I have a pitch deck for million. I'm sorry, not. I don't need. We love to have 5 million, but don't give that to me. $5 million, okay? That will really get us in good stead. It would take 5 million, turn into 50 million, but that's another story. Michael, yeah, I think that's a great idea, but you know, my flock are saying, hey, talk about Howard Terminal. All right. I'm going to say this because this is the 11th hour. All right. If you want Howard Terminal done as citizen, okay, if you want Howard Terminal done, what you need to do is call your council member. Don't text them. Don't go on Twitter. Call them. Do it the old-fashioned way. Why? Because the other ways of making a contact they're less direct. Phone calls are direct. Don't text. Use your voice. People are too hep to this indirect way of talking, and they'll listen, they'll pay attention, but it doesn't have the same impact. When you call somebody, right, Michael? Talking is right. Talking is best. Okay? Oh, by the way, you wanted me to say something about People's Park? I'll tell you, I am so sick and tired of a generation that hasn't learned to leave People's Park alone. We've been through this in the 60s. I remember my friend, the late Michael Petrovis, led a protest. Wheelchair Brown, great guy that I met when I was columnist of the Montclarian, wrote about him. The Montclarian work that I did should be digitized. It is a crime that that's not digitized, but I digress. It's at the Oakland Museum, all right? But Michael, he got rousted by UC police, tossed out of his wheelchair. I'm serious, folks. It's too bad that YouTube wasn't around then, okay? All right? It's too bad. It is too bad, all right? But I'll say it's about People's Park, and I'll come back to Howard Terminal because I'm getting a lot of people saying, talk about Howard Terminal. It should not be, okay?
Hey, Zenny, the question is, just like, is it too late for the Oakland Athletics to remain in Oakland? Is it too late for People's Park, Zenny? Is it too late for People's Park?
I'll just say this briefly, and I'll go back to Howard Terminal. Yeah, it's too late for People's Park. Now, as far as Howard Terminal is concerned, look, the biggest problem is that the city wasted 2 years. I don't care the reason, all right? You don't, to offer a reason over why the time was wasted is to simply just further buttress the fact that the city had people that didn't know what they were doing on the project, and the mayor basically admitted that to me in a press conference after the town hall that was held with the county back in July of last year. Hold on a second, Michael. Hold on a second. And the problem is that over that 2-year period, as more politics, more documents and work and the need for the stadium proceeded through time, more media attention was glommed onto it. And with media attention, you get political involvement for a large-scale public-private partnership. And so what happened? Nature abhors a vacuum. The city did not establish a deliberative body to basically control the narrative. It left it out there to the internet wilderness, to people to say what they want to say, to react to these meetings that really should be considered small and internecine, like BCDC and everything, but they made them major. The major meeting should have been the Howard Terminal Public Financing Authority. That's what should be established. The Howard Terminal Public Financing Authority, okay? I told the mayor that when she's saying, well, Zenny, this is a job interview. I mean, come on, okay? That's the best you got, you know? It's ridiculous how this has been handled, and it's shameful for a city that created the sale-leaseback, I'm talking about Oakland, to be allowed this bad a look. Oh, and then let's talk about the whole affordable housing thing, okay? I explained to anyone who looked...
Hey, Zenny,
listen.
before you talk about the whole... Can the Howard Terminal project survive and thrive without the Oakland Athletics?
Not in the same way. In fact, it's good. I talked about this with Mike Jacob yesterday. Mike Jacob is the lawyer and friend of mine with the Pacific Maritime Shipping Association, or I say colloquially the Oakland Longshoremen, okay? And or I should say short people today. And he reminded me of something that is quite true, that there are a number of covenants that call for the construction of the stadium. Among them, SB 293 Skinner in and of itself. All right. So it's not, SB 293 Skinner is not so binding as to say you must do the stadium, but the stadium is obvious focus. You understand what I'm saying? It's the obvious focus. So
Zenny,
here's the thing. But here's the thing. But here's the thing. Michael. Whoa. Michael. Let me answer.
Could the stadium be built because the greatest, most popular sport in the world is soccer? Could you still build a stadium that was soccer friendly, which is called football, differentiated from American football, because that would be, because I believe 50 years from now, the way California is going with immigration, soccer might be bigger than American football.
But I have to emphasize
so
this.
So there you go.
But I have to emphasize with respect to SB 293 Skinner. It's not a deal breaker, but it does call for, no one's going to get thrown in jail. But if what does transpire, I believe what will happen is that the Athletics will partner with Dave Ruffin. They will try to keep that land and do Howard Terminal without the stadium as you ask, all right? Have the covenants changed, but then build the ballpark in Las Vegas. Because, look, why else would 82-year-old Phil Ruffin leave Las Vegas and come to Oakland? He's not coming to watch a baseball game, all right? Why would he do that? Now, as far as soccer, the question is, Michael's trying to mute me, but he forgets that I'm simulcasting. All right? But my point is that...
I got to interject. Maybe what we talked about earlier today, about you going to an Oakland Athletics game between now and the end of September and taking a picture of...
I'd rather hire some... How about you do it?
I would love for
How about you
do
it? No, you do it.
A little
you do it. You know what? I need
ahead.
agents out there. All right? I built Zenny 62 Media to have partners. I need somebody out there. We put them on a blog. It's designed to have a smartphone. We connect you to our YouTube network. You're out there. You don't need any heavy equipment. You have the device, right? You can go and do that. You can get a team to go and do that. You'll get 50% of the revenue from the videos, okay? You get a sponsor, you get 50% of that. Boom, all right? My point is, Zenny 62 Media is about changing. I'm not going to say this. I'm just going to say this a second. Then we get back to Howard Terminal, from the me to the we. All right. So Michael, deputize you, but I need you as our chief marketing officer. Now let me talk about Howard Terminal some more, because this is a critical problem. All right. Critical. All right. Critical problem. And Bleacher Day says, how are they going to dispose of their 50% interest in the Coliseum? They're not. This is what they see, and I really believe that Mayor Schaaf invited billionaire Phil Ruffin to come in with Fisher and do this land banking, just like they were trying to do with the Coliseum. All right? Libby gave them an option to have an ENA either for the Coliseum or for Howard Terminal. Guess what they did? The A's took both. And everyone says, I thought, it's Baseball Village, right? But guess what? Once I did the tax increment financing calculations, I thought, you don't need to do a Baseball Village. They've got the money right there for infrastructure. It's that big. Why is it that big mathematically? And this is why you need to understand tax increment financing math. Not those little pictures, but the math. You hear me, Michael? The math. Listen.
What? I got a question.
No. Listen.
Roger Knoll.
I know Roger.
Who's a professor. You know Roger.
Yeah.
He claims that professional sports teams don't...
He's wrong.
No.
He's wrong.
That's it. That's
He's
a
wrong.
good point. So
Roger Knoll is wrong.
If the teams do leave, all the professional teams, what is the math? How much money, Zenny, is the city of Oakland losing from all those teams?
Wait. That's a different math. Okay. I want you to pay attention to tax increment financing math with respect to the stadiums, where, like Councilmember Fife says, that sports isn't important to her and everything. Look, you've got... How many other examples are you going to have? We have a facility that's worth $2 billion. What does that do? It means you have a gigantic drop of assessed value on the roads like that produces this gigantic wave of tax increment revenue. If you do the calculations right, that's what you get, okay? Now, for somebody that says, well, it's not going to be that because the stadium it was only $1 billion. No, you don't understand, all right? Good tax increment financing planning is targeting, you hear what I'm saying? Listen to me. It's targeting your assessed value. You hit your assessed value targets to realize a revenue throw-off. Again, you hit your assessed value targets to realize a revenue throw-off. All of you have been you're talking about, well, it's the shape of the map and all this. It's not the shape of the math. It's the value of the property, shape of the map, excuse me. It's the value of the property. I've done this for 36 years. So, a lot of you, 5 years ago, you didn't know anything about this stuff. All of a sudden, you come in, some of you work on these networks and stuff, and then you think you understand and you don't. And then you don't want to talk to me because I'm a black guy. Let's face it, because a lot of people doing this are white. All right, look at the tableau. All right. And they get it wrong all the time. But they talk about among themselves, a little group, and they think the little sewing circle's got it right. Little sewing circle doesn't know what the frick they're talking about. All right? Period. Because they don't know how to do math. They don't want to do math at all. They don't have the time. Okay? I do. The bottom line is this. Assessed value is what drives your tax increment. All right? You start there. So when you target it at $2 billion, you get a nice throw off. And then you say, hey, you know what? I'll go to the legislature. This is the other thing I don't like. People say, well, the law says, if you don't like the law, change the law. All right? The Republicans in California will love it when you change the law, man, regarding tax increment financing to, get more flexibility. Oh, you can get a lot out of that, okay? Change the law so that I can negotiate with the school district. Get this, Michael. You're going to love it. I can negotiate with the school district and give them their money up front. Because the other ones who like to think that they're left and right and all this crap that really has screwed up our country in terms of this extreme thinking, don't understand that you're actually taking away the school district's idea of bargaining. Me? Heck, I don't care what the law says. The law doesn't tell me I can't negotiate with the school district. I'll negotiate with them until the cows come home. And then we have a deal. Then we go to the legislature and say, you know what, we got this deal. We're going to we need a change in the law right here. That's how you do it. Because then they can get their money up front. They can get the schools fixed. You can, all this stuff rather than having to go to corporate financing and basically put corporate names on schools. Ugh. All right? This stuff is nuts.
Zenny, you on the dot, just to let everyone know, Zenny gets the last word. Zenny, we've been going for an hour and 9 minutes. We might break the record for on the dot, but I love your passion. I love your knowledge, your wisdom, your experience. I'm just saddened that the city of Oakland, for whatever reason, hasn't brought you in from 8 years ago and saying, hey, Zenny, you need to be in charge, because I truly believe had Mayor Schaaf done that, with your energy, one of those teams, whether it was the Warriors, the Raiders, or the Athletics, one of those teams would have stayed. That's just my opinion. So, Zenny, you get the last word. Don't hang up.
I'm not hanging up. No.
You get the last word, and when you close out the show, I'll hit the end, but don't hang up, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Zenny, for being on the dot, and I look forward to being your chief marketing officer. Again, everyone, I'm going to put up Zenny's link here.
Thank you.
If you want to know about the mayoral election coming up,
what I was going to say,
go to Zenny, his YouTube channel, Zenny62, and you can see. By the way, Zenny did a 16 years ago in New York City.
New York City, yeah.
2006.
Type Michael Dotterer NFL draft, Zenny 62.
Interviewed me. It was the time of the NFL draft.
We were headed to 21 Club.
And it's got almost 6,000 views. And Zenny, thank you so much, because I think of all the things that I've done on the internet, your show has more views than anyone. So thank you, Zenny.
Oh, hey,
again,
man. Thank you.
Thank you. You get the last word, and I'm going to put myself on mute. So thank you, brother. You get the last word, brother.
Michael, I appreciate your comments and being on the show. I got to say, though, thank you for saying what you said regarding the city and me. I got to tell you, though, not just me. I got a call from somebody else currently with the city who told me that they actually gave me a list. I'm going to make a video about this. A list of the number of black persons, talented people who are in the city administrative offices have been chased away. Some names you know about, like Marquesha Smith, and of course there's Michelle Bird and others. And I was told that in Sacramento, this has made me cry, but it's true, that among black women in Sacramento, Mayor Schaaf is considered a black female career killer, okay? Black female career killer, all right? That is a terrible moniker to have hung on your head, in your head. That makes me cry because I don't want to think of my friend that way. But she's responsible for the city of Oakland and the legacy of the city. She is the mayor, and she's 2 terms, okay? And she can straighten all this out like that, all right? But Libby has got, and Libby tries. He tries to take the photo ops and everything, but it's got to be more than photo ops, a lot more. Howard Terminal, she needs a tight group of people that's going to last beyond her to get it done. She hasn't put that together. She needs to put together the Public Financing Authority now. She needs to get me involved now. Even if she doesn't want to get me involved, do something active and make it public so that we have multiple meetings so the Major League Baseball can say, hey, you know what? We need to wait for them because they've sped it up. Instead, I got a guy, County of Alameda guy, telling me, one of the supervisors saying, you know what? I haven't heard from them in over a month. Think about it, okay? Think about it, all right? This is a crisis. This isn't, Zinni land, all right? As much as I'd love it to be, this is Oakland land, and Oakland land is screwing up under Mayor Schaaf. Libby can do better. She hired Ed Reskin. You know why she hired Ed? Okay? Because Ed doesn't know city administration. She could use him to reach down to the bowels of the city that previous city administrators wouldn't do. They would probably just not listen to her and go on. Deanna Santana was arguably our most powerful city administrator we ever had because she actually read the charter, okay? But she served to the pleasure of the mayor, right? But hey, look, everything happens below her is under her control, and she acted like it. That's not Ed Reskin, okay? So Ed's not the face. Libby makes herself the face. She wants you to know all of this is coming from her. But then she wears it when it goes bad. And it's gone really, really bad in a lot of different ways. And it makes me cry on a regular basis because I told her in 2009, on the 14th of May, that she should run for mayor. I thought we would be getting a different Libby Schaaf. I mean that. We didn't. We didn't get that Libby Schaaf I thought of, okay? Michael, thank you. Thank you for having me on the dock. And subscribe to Michael. I don't know if Michael left or anything. He said don't hang up. But Mike is Mike and I wondering how we met. We met through John Pertapappas. Yeah, Mike, I was telling you, yeah. Hey Mike, you're
Yeah, I just turned it off. We're out.
Oh, you're okay. You're out on your show?
Yeah, well, I'm out of my show, but we're still on your show.
Yeah, hold on a second, folks. Yeah, folks, this is Michael. All right, tell him. I gotta tell him we met with Pertapappas. We all used to play handball. Remember that? We used to play racquetball.
Racquetball.
Yeah.
Yep.
Used to play racquetball. Yeah. And yeah.
And John was we had a lot of fun and I'll never forget when John purchased the Oakland Tribune Tower.
Yep.
He gave me the choice of what floor I wanted, and I took the 14th floor because I was born on December 14th, and it was a great view. The company was called Freedom Call.
Yep.
And I want to thank John if he's listening or he's going to listen to this recording. I want to thank John for that great experience. I think that's where Harry Houdini.
Yeah.
Was back in the 20s. The Oakland Tribune Tower. I don't know if our audience knows this. The Oakland Tribune Tower was the tallest building west of the Mississippi in the 1920s. It was the tallest building, and Harry Houdini, I don't know the exact date, but he hung outside upside down in a straitjacket, and he escaped from he did one of his performances, and he might have hung out from the 14th floor, and my cousin Henry Dotterer.
Yep.
That's where his company started. Their first headquarters was on that floor. They had a room. We rented out a little room to him. And his company, Henry is an MIT graduate. His company, which is called Proz, PROZ.com, they're now one of the largest translation companies in the world. And it started right there in Oakland.
Hey, Michael. Also, Michael, folks, Michael is a hero in American culture because he was representing Stanford. Well, I don't know if hero is the right word, but he was in the play. He was in the play. He played with John Elway. He was the fullback, right?
Well, Zenny,
right?
Zenny, that was 40 years ago. And I got a call from Jeremy Schaap's office. Jeremy Schaap is with ESPN.
Yeah.
And he does that E60?
Mhm.
One of the, and they're going to be doing this November. They're going to broadcast a 40th anniversary documentary on
the
that
play.
that I would say the date November 21st, 1982.
Yes.
And
Yes.
were you at that game, Zenny?
I was not. I was. I went to the University of Texas at Arlington, but I wanted to go to Cal for my undergrad. I wound up going to Cal for my grad school. I was listening to that game on the radio, and because I was always trying to keep in touch. My friend Bill Boyd was there, who I've known since I was 15, and my Star Trek buddy. So basically, everybody that I went to school with at Skyline was there, but me.
Right.
I missed it, but
Well, that was 40 years ago, and here we are. And Zenny, you and I have known each other. Is it almost a quarter of a century? Is it 20 plus years?
Yeah. Thanks to John Protopopoulos. Yeah,
So John was the one that introduced us. Okay.
Yeah.
How is John doing? What's John up to these days?
Oh, John's mad at me right now, man. I don't know. No, because what happened was I criticized John about being on the wrong end of the affordable housing argument, and I was disappointed. And I think, whatever he was going through, he probably didn't want to hear it, and he defriended me on Facebook. And hey, whatever, that's his right. But I just Oakland has a gigantic homeless problem, as you know, and California, and we need to get serious about straightening it out. There's no excuse for this stuff, and
There's
John.
a great documentary, Zenny. There's a great documentary. I don't know if you've seen it. It's called "Is Seattle Dying?" Seattle Dying. Did you see that documentary, Zenny?
First I've heard of it. Now.
Yeah, I encourage you and your audience to look at it. It's on YouTube. Is Seattle Dying? And it's about the homeless problem in Seattle. And they look at what Providence, Rhode Island did. And obviously, when you think of Providence, Rhode Island, the temperature, because of the cold weather, they do need to solve. They had a homeless problem. So, and when you're in the cold, you freeze to death. But they did something that was very unique, and they were trying to talk about what can we learn from Providence, Rhode Island, what they did a decade ago. How can it help Seattle, San Francisco, Oakland, Portland, Oregon, Los Angeles? I agree with you, Zenny. You know what amazes me, Zenny? Most important thing for this country is to take care of those people that mental illness, homeless, that's the most important. Take care of the people in this country before you spend billions and billions of dollars overseas.
Hey,
that boggles my mind, because we shouldn't have a homeless problem.
I'm going to do something as we close out here, because I got to get downstairs, but I'm going to play for the people here. I think he closed out. Hold on a second. Folks, this is a treat, because Michael and I, this is an epic walk and talk that Michael Dotterer and I did in New York for the NFL draft, 2006, my first year doing it with a YouTube channel, Zenny62, this one. And I want to play for you our talk on the way to 21, which, do you know 21 is still closed? You know that? 21 is still closed?
Hey, let's make a deal.
Yeah. 21 is still closed. Hold on a second. Let me get rid of that. And okay, I'm skipping the ad. All right. So, where was I? Yeah. This is, folks, this is Michael Dotterer. We were on the way in New York. Here it is. New York City.
This is Michael Dotterer, a Raider legend. Show me your ring, Michael.
You've already filmed it.
This guy's my friend, so he's probably gonna bust my chops. But no, seriously. What do you remember about being drafted?
Well, I was playing baseball at the time, but back then, this is 23 years ago.
Yeah,
23 years ago. We had 12 rounds.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so I was playing baseball. I think I was playing I think we were playing USC, and so I wasn't sitting around the television set. I was out playing baseball.
Let's turn left here, you think?
Yeah,
Let's do that.
So anyway, it was exciting to hear that you were drafted, and I'll never forget. They called and said, "Okay, we want you to report to minicamp," and they bring in all the draft picks. The number one pick that year was Don Mosbar.
Oh yeah.
I remember that. Mosbar, remember that, man?
And then number 2 pick was, I think, Bill Pickell.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony Caldwell from Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun. So I'll never forget going to minicamp, and they stick all the rookies and draft picks with veterans.
Yeah.
And we were staying at the Hyatt Hotel right by LAX.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget walking into my room thinking, gosh, I wonder who they stuck me with. And I see this big burly shadow in the corner walking around. And I just see the hairy back, and he turns around and says, "What are you doing here?" And I jumped back, and he had a beard, and I recognized his face because I remember when he boxed Muhammad Ali.
Oh.
And he, quite a character, a guy named Lyle Alzada. So that was
He was your roommate?
Yeah.
What was he like?
He was an interesting guy, but it was fun. It was an exciting time. There I am.
Was he like John Belushi?
No, yeah. I mean, he was a personality, and he's from New York, and it was just fun to felt like here I am, and going from college ranks up to the professional. And I wish I had a camera like you have now. If I had a camera, it might have been an Academy Award winning. That year, we won the Super Bowl, so it was an exciting year to be part of the team. And these guys today who are here in New York that you're going to be filming tomorrow at the draft. It's an exciting time for them, and they all want to be picked by a good team, and I think they all want to get the ring.
Yep.
Because I think the word has gone out that that's what it's all about. Being part of a championship team. So
You got any advice for the rookie guys coming out?
yeah, I think be a good listener. Unfortunately, that's what gets you in trouble. I wish someone had told me that. The more you listen, the better off you'll be.
Yeah.
Real simple.
Simple rules of life.
Simple rules of life.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's great to be here with you, Zenny.
Yeah, you too, man. Definitely. Yeah. The city's taking to you. You've taken to the city.
And I look forward to the Zenny Abraham vlog.
Coming up.
Vlog. The V.
Coming up. Okay. All right. Cool.
I live here in New York City. I came here right after we won the Super Bowl, 1984. And I'll never forget flying from Tampa, Florida. We just beat the Redskins. And on the plane, one of the people I was sitting by found out that I was on the Raiders, and they said, "Oh, wow, congratulations." And I said, "Yeah." They said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I'm heading up to begin my graduate school work in Columbia." And they said, "Oh, do you need a ride to the city?" And I said, "Yeah." They said, "Great, here, just hang with us. We'll drive you right to your place."
We'll move across, yeah.
So that was my introduction to New York, and
it
Oh,
more
let
effective.
me skip. Hold on a
Give
second.
you an edge at work. Grammarly can make your
That's a
job
commercial.
one
Let me
click
skip
simpler.
that. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's it. Anyway, that was it. I guess that was it somehow. But at any rate, that was, folks. That was one of the great times of my life in my 60 years. Is we went to
Zenny, how does that? I think that's been seen over 16,000 times. Where does that rank in the Zenny vlog? Where does that rank?
Oh, where does that rank? That's well, my most seen videos got 10 million views. Okay.
10 million?
Yeah, 10 million.
One video?
Yeah, because I made a video called about how the British government was talking about orgasm and stuff, all right, to kids. And I thought, what? So I thought, no one's going to listen to me. You know, they're not going to click on my face. So I found I used this actually contributed to a YouTube rule change. I used the thumbnail of a woman in the middle of doing it, okay? And so, right. So everyone,
Oh, boy.
exactly. So
Oh, wait.
no. So what happened was, hey, what do you think would happen? It got clicked on because
10
people.
million views.
No, because
Wow.
it got clicked on because people expected to see something other than what they got, which is me talking about the British government. But so it led to this rule that you can't use a thumbnail that doesn't exactly have to do with what you are talking about, right? But anyway, but that was the thing that people did. That's what people. But that's what people did. But hey, Michael.
The course of YouTube.
Well, not
You
just me.
actually
That was the
altered
thing.
their course.
That was the thing that people did then. Okay. But I gotta shove off. Hey, folks, I'm shoving off here. Michael, you stick around in your background. Folks,
Okay.
subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark Oakland News Now, blog.com. And thanks a lot.